So now we're beginning our little unit here on analysis. Analysis is something that you do all of the time, and I'm just putting a name to it and making you aware of it. So it's a completely different type of paper, but one I'm sure you'll be able to do well. Analysis is looking at how a paper is written, really focusing on the style of the paper, not the content. You're not responding to the content and saying, oh, I agree with this author, or I don't agree with this author. That is response. Analysis is looking at the style. What choices are they making to convey their opinion, and do those choices work? So when you're analyzing others' writing styles, then it helps you to create and refine your own. You are all unique creations, and you have your own taste in music and clothes, and of course your writing styles are unique because many of those are based on preferences. So your analysis of the writing this week, there is not one correct analysis. It's a matter of preference in terms of what you enjoy, whether you enjoy humor, or whether you enjoy cultural references, whether you like personal statistics, or whether you value personal experience. You are making the decision here. And it's your opinion, but it's just not your opinion of their content in terms of whether you agree with it, but it's whether or not you think their writing style is effective. So what is the author trying to do? What is his purpose here? We'll look at some common purposes, and then how are they trying to do it? Those would be the techniques, the stylistic devices that they employ. Some common purposes. Many authors are trying to do more than one of these at the same time. To entertain you, to persuade you, to raise your awareness of a certain topic, to confirm opinions, to refute opinions. Some writing is done to simply conduct business, to evoke emotion, or to incite action. So that's going to be your first task when you're reading this, is really evaluating what you think the author is trying to do in very specific terms. They're trying to persuade me to, and fill in the blank. So they're raising awareness of this particular issue and name that issue specifically. Okay, so those are the purposes. The techniques, that's what they're trying to do. The techniques are how they are trying to do it. So some common techniques: humor, sarcasm, irony, metaphor. Those all fall into the stylistic category. There are many more, but those are some examples. They may use cultural references. Cultural references are interesting. They're a little bit tricky. Sometimes you're sitting with your friends and you make some obscure reference, and it's kind of fun to see who will respond and who may get the reference and who may not. When you're writing in an academic setting, probably you want to use a common cultural reference. If I use the word, say, Bambi, many of you will know what inference I want you to take away from that. I want you to think of the personification of animals by Disney, and that is maybe a bit of a sarcastic reference to say, so the subtext there being that animals are animals and people are people, and even though Disney personifies them when we're children and we think it's really cute, we're adults now. So that can be a really effective use of one word to convey all of those inferences with that one cultural reference. So cultural references used well can be very effective. And obviously, so can humor and sarcasm and irony and metaphor. If you have people laughing along with you, they're more likely to agree with you. Evidence, very strong typically, depending on your purpose, of course. Statistics, studies, research, experts, making sure that they're correct experts and that the fallacy of appeal to authority is not being committed, of course. Personal experience. This can be a very effective technique. I was there. I've seen it with my own eyes. Giving your testimony. Obviously, this is stronger in some cases than in others. Analogies, examples, anecdotes, all of these can work very well to illustrate a point and make it come to life. You're going to also look at the word choice. Are they using sophisticated terms? Are they using common language? Which do you prefer? For some of us, we really enjoy that sophisticated language. For others, we want plain talk. We want for somebody to be direct, to be brief, to the point. And there is some clarity in that can be valuable. So it's really a matter of preference. And again, so you look at the word choice there and see what you think, whether you think his is sophisticated or common or effective in either regard. And then the expansion and the arrangement of topics. So do they touch upon something and they don't really expand upon it enough? Do they give you enough information about each topic that they address? Are they arranged in a way that is logical, that is sensible? Does one topic build on another? So those are the things that you can look at. These are sort of the menu of options that you have in terms of techniques. You are looking at the style, not the topic is about Malawi. And no, you're looking at, he uses his personal experience from Malawi, and that is an interesting technique. You may find it effective, you may find it ineffective. So analysis and action, you're doing this already, I can guarantee it. If we all want to see Creature of the Black Lagoon or whatever the film du jour, and we came away from it and I said, now summarize it. All you're doing is telling me the plot, the overview of the plot, essentially. That's it. If I say, tell me your response to the film, then you would say, I really liked it. I didn't enjoy it at all. For this reason, for that reason. The analysis is a stylistic critique of the original. I know many of you already do this when you go to see a movie or when you watch a television show or when you read a book. So in terms of, for a movie, some of the techniques would be the special effects, which, here in this case are obviously stunning. You have the director. Many of you have favorite directors. Casting. Certain actors perform better in certain roles than others. The acting itself. The dialogue. How well written is the dialogue? What music choices did they make? When you focus on the techniques, then that is analysis. That is the difference from response. You can say, I think it was an effective movie for what they were trying to do. They were trying to modernize it. They were trying to diversify the cast. They were trying to appeal to nostalgia. Whatever you think their purpose was. And then say, yeah, they did that well by, casting some of the original actors, by casting a more diverse acting group, and the music was very effective. The original scores had elements of nostalgia, but were new. So you're contextualizing all of these techniques in terms of their purpose. What are they trying to do? And how are they doing it? And does it work? That's analysis. Why? Why analyze? When you can understand the masters, when you can look at their style and understand it, so John Trumbull, one of the first great American painters featured here, when you look at his use of colors and placement and lighting and balance, once you understand those things, if you are an aspiring painter and you can imitate that, that's obviously going to strengthen your skill set. If you're looking at something rhetorically, for example, this psalm is a wonderful example of a rhetorical device called anaphora. And you can see that the beginning part of each phrase or sentence here is repeated. The Lord shall preserve. Now, by doing this, what does it create? It creates continuity. It creates reassurance. That repetition is very reassuring. And you can then employ that same device of anaphora when you want to reassure someone else. So somebody that you know is going through a hard time, and you say all the things that you're willing to do for them, and, because you want them to feel better and you want them to know that you're there. How do you do this effective rhetorically? You can begin every clause with the same phrase by saying, because we're friends, you can call me whenever you want. Because we're friends, I will be there for you. Because we're friends, I will drive 2 hours to come home and listen to you talk all night. Whatever it is, that repetition, because we're friends, is reassuring. So this is the way that we imitate the masters. We understand them, we analyze their techniques. Are they employing these stylistic devices effectively? And then how can we utilize them to improve our own writing style?